Hello, and welcome to Shrink, the podcast for the mind. I'm Philippe, and I talk to the people who want to have a better understanding of their issues with weight and body image. Good morning, Lucy.
Good morning, Philippe, on this special day.
Yeah, it's such a special day. It's Valentine's Day. And so happy Valentine, I guess.
Yes, and happy Valentine to you. You are my only single one Valentine.
So are you.
It's just you. But that makes me very happy because we're here doing this lovely podcast together.
Yeah, so I'm really happy too.
Yeah.
So Lucy, you're a journalist and a love coach. So what is a love coach Valentine's Day like? I mean, what I mean by that is that your clients that tend to speak a lot more about Valentine, and does it put them under some kind of pressure, or are they excited? Are they, I don't know, how do they feel about it usually?
Well, I think Valentine's Day does put people under a lot of pressure, actually. Mm-hmm. So I have posted on Instagram, and I'm useless at Instagram, but I realized that around my study, I've got quite a few things that are hearts. I've got a heart picture, and I've got a heart crystal, and I was like, oh, I actually have some heart-based things. So that means I must be wanting a bit of love. So I posted on Instagram, actually I'm in a loving throuple, and that's me, myself, and I. We're in a loving throuple. So on Valentine's Day, I'm having a relationship with myself, and that's what I'm offering to my single clients, because a lot of them are feeling very low, and I know it's a fake day. It's just a day like Christmas is just a day and everything.
Sweet,
but they're feeling low, and they're feeling sad, and they're feeling lonely. And so I'm offering them a bit of heart love, a bit of self-love, and a bit of, do something for yourself today that you really want to do, that's your thing, and that's how you're going to celebrate your Valentine's Day.
So you're talking about your clients which are single when you say that, but it can be sweet as well. For, let's say, if you're in a relationship, it's a reminder of, you shouldn't take the other one for granted, and it's sweet. So there's something romantic about it. You can see it in that way as well.
Yeah. If you're a couple that's coming to see me, it means your relationship's in trouble. So Valentine's Day isn't a great day for them, because they come to see me because things aren't going the way they'd like it to go. Mm-hmm. But what you just said is completely, I think, spot on, which is trying to encourage people to prioritize their love relationship. And people find that very difficult. They say, well, it's busy, I've got kids, I've got work. I'm like, well, if you want this to work, you want this to happen, you want this to feel passionate, sexy, fantastic, and second and beautiful, you need to prioritize it a bit. And Valentine's Day is the day to kind of get, okay, this is a day of love. What are we going to do? Rather than hate each other, that kind of thing.
We're going to buy chocolates, and we're going to buy chocolates and eat chocolates together.
Well, people eat chocolate, so a lot of people don't drink, so you just got to find another way of doing it.
Yeah. Well, many of my friends come and see me at first to lose weight, although, I don't put them on diets because I'm totally against that. And so Valentine's Day is a challenging day for some of them, because they're going to the restaurant. I mean, the ones who are in a relationship, and usually there will be chocolate around. And so it's another challenge on top of the other challenges that they're experiencing.
But why do people do this? I mean, it's really interesting. It's like at schools, they do cake sales, and biscuit sales, and we've got an epidemic of childhood obesity. So actually, I don't want a box of chocolates because,
So
I don't want to sit there.
So what do you want?
My perfect Valentine's Day would be someone making me a really fantastic breakfast in bed and say, I'll get the kids to school, my love. A bit like salmon and something really lovely and a beautiful tea. And maybe I love a bunch of flowers that smell. Flowers that don't smell anymore. Yeah. Beautiful bunch of flowers so that my bedroom is perfumed. And then I'd like to go for a lovely long walk. And then I'd like to go to the spa and have a sauna and a swim, maybe a massage, and then I'm good. That's it.
You make it sound like, at first it's like I don't want much, but in fact it's like you've got a list of
I'd like to have sex actually as well. I'd like to have some really lovely languorous sex. That'd be good. And then I'm done.
Yeah.
And then I'm all good.
Well, yeah, I hope you're done.
What I'm saying is it's the quality of the attention.
I know. Yeah.
a box of chocolates, it's the quality. Actually, any one of those things would do. It's the quality of the attention. Does this person know what you would like? What do you know what they would like? What would they like for Valentine's?
I think most people don't really know, because most people are not, although they are in a relationship. I mean, for those who are in a relationship, they're not very intimate. They don't really know each other feelings and what they're going through, how they see the relationship. They don't talk much. You see it when you or me, when we have clients in like couples in the therapy room.
Yeah.
They just, it's like they discover who their partner, who's been with them sometimes for 10 or 20 years is. They hear things for the first time. They never heard these things before. And it's a shame. So maybe, it would be a good thing if Valentine's Day could be an intimate day, where people would be more intimate.
Isn't it about curiosity? I think there's something in, there's a fear. And for each person, the fear might be very different. But actually, there's a sort of fear around being curious. Kind of like, what might I find out if I'm curious about my partner? And also then I think with that, the element of play between couples just gets dampened down. And then it just feels like drudgery to people. And then when people come out of relationships, however they come out of them, unless they've done a lot of work on coming out of it, like consciously uncoupling, which I actually think is a brilliant thing, they're hurt and they're damaged and they're low in themselves, and they want to get another relationship very quickly, maybe.
Yeah, but most of the time it will be to kind of feel better, but they're not ready to get into another relationship. When they want to jump into another one just because it's too painful to be by themselves, and they want to see if they can make it work with someone else. They cannot tolerate the loneliness that they're facing, and so it's sometimes it's about the right timing as well. I was wondering, because I was listening to a client this morning, and that client was saying, well, don't you have to love yourself first before you can love someone? And to which I said, well, I don't really believe in the idea of having to love yourself. I said to that client, who was really surprised, in fact, at first.
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't love myself. I mean, I respect myself. There are things about me that I really like, that I love, but I don't love myself. I mean, I don't think we need to love. We have to be intimate with who we are. We have to be respectful. We have to be kind. We have to be gentle with who we are. But this is not really love. And I don't know what's what are your views around that, in fact.
Well, I think, I hear that quite a lot from people generally. There's a lot of, just from friends and clients, and also self-help books and all that thing about, in order to find true love, and I'm putting that in inverted commas because, you and I have a certain age, Philippe, and we might have many versions of true love. But in order to find that person you're going to be really happy with, that won't happen unless you love yourself and blah, blah, blah. I think that is a stick that we can seriously beat ourselves with, because the thought process could be, oh my goodness, the reason why I haven't met anyone is because I don't love myself, and I've got to love myself to meet someone, but I don't love myself because there are things about me I don't like, and now I'm never going to meet anyone, and it can get incredibly punishing. Also, a lot of people have been brought up, especially of our generation, like we're in our 50s, to believe, and maybe this is an English British thing, that loving yourself is a bad thing, it's egotistical, and how dare you, and my God, how could you possibly say that? Because it makes you sound like some sort of egotistical lunatic if you sit there going, I just think I'm the most fabulous person ever. Mm-hmm. But that's not what self-love is. I think it's more to do with, in order to meet someone probably and have a good relationship, and I'm talking about an intimate relationship, which is about 0.003% of the population probably, it is important to be intimate with yourself, and it's your job, it's my job, because I'm single, to work on my past hurt and past pain, and sort of absolve that, forgive that, work through in order to present myself in a relationship with someone who's able to have a relationship in a proper way. And I mean, you can have any kind of relationship you want, but actually a long-term, committed, intimate, curious, playful relationship. I need to have done my work. having said that, though, for people out there looking for relationships, the thing about working through your childhood pain is that's great. But I meet people of my age, and I'm 55, who are still working through their childhood pain and more childhood pain. And in the end, it's a backward path looking thing. It's not a forward thing. It's not a transformational thing. Transformation is forward looking. It's out and it's forward. If we spend our entire lives working through our childhood pain, we're going to be dead, and we won't confront it. But that's a counterintuitive argument for therapists. But I'm like, yeah, let's do that, but let's not just sit there forever.
Why is it counterintuitive? Why do you feel like it's counterintuitive? Sorry, I interrupted you. Why do you think it's counterintuitive? What do you mean by that?
Well, because the psychodynamic model would be, and I mean, this is shorthand, isn't it? Which is actually, a lot of what we do and sabotage and our patterns are based on our childhood wounds, which I agree with.
I agree to a certain extent, yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Tell me the certain extent bit.
Well, because I think that sometimes, because when you say that, when some people say that, it's like you don't change through life, and the experience that the things that you're experiencing you don't learn from them, and either nice things or traumas. It's like you're still haunted somehow by your childhood traumas or childhood difficulties. I don't know how you would call that. And I think it's somehow there is something comfortable thinking like that. It's like, yeah, but it's not my fault. I'm not really responsible. That's what as a child, I've experienced this or I experienced that. I mean, I know that these things matter. I know that things that we experience as children make a big difference. But we can change. We can change the way we see things. There's so many things we can change. So I think always, and there is also something of a victim mode when some people say that, it's like, they always refer to what they've experienced as a child and what their parents have or haven't done, the love they didn't receive.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And so it's true, but to a certain extent, because I think otherwise it's like, it's even if it's an uncomfortable place, it's a safe place because we know what it's like. We don't dare to experience something new.
Yeah, it's very safe. You can say, so we can sit there forever saying, well, the reason why I can't have good relationships is because I believe that my father didn't love me. And we can stay there for a long time, and then we can sabotage our relationships, and we can just do the romantic part because we know the romantic part, the beginning bit, I believe, this is what I believe, limerence. So the bit is you meet, there's some energy transfers, and you fall in that bit, and it's like your stars in your eyes, and Tweety birds around your head, and love hearts everywhere you go. And it's like a drug. It is a drug, actually, because you're being...
It's a drug, especially because some people are in love with the idea of being in love.
But there's another, that bit. That's the beginning bit. And I think you literally do have dopamine, don't you? And all those happy drugs are going on in your brain. And of course, it would be like constantly taking smack or something. I'd be like, woohoo! Or microdosing, or actually not microdosing, taking mushrooms every day in the world looks amazing and bright and true.
But after a few weeks or a few months or a few years, in the best case scenario, it's not. It doesn't feel like a drug anymore. It can be really nice to be in a relationship. It can be amazing even, but it doesn't feel the same. We don't have the butterflies. We don't have the. It's different.
No. Well, yes, but yes and no. When I was very in love, I would look at this person and I would feel this like a whole warm fire was burning in my belly. Mm-hmm. I would always look at him and. I just love this man, and it just felt, it wasn't, after time, it wasn't butterflies. It was this deep sense of belonging with him.
For me, that's real love. That's real. That's
it turns out totally wrong, but never mind. Moving to the field. But okay. But interestingly enough, about that, I felt that about a person who probably was very like my father. Okay, so then you start diving a little bit deeper, but that's a bit off track. I think the romantic love is, I think you're right, people get attached to being in that first phase, which is so magical. And then, of course, two people become real people. oh, hello, I didn't know you did that. That's not quite in my romantic script. I didn't know that actually she's got 3 children who are loathsome and annoying and I don't like them. That wasn't the script. Yeah. And then it all starts falling apart, and then they split up and they move on to the next hit.
Yeah, because it's not exciting anymore. They don't have the thrill anymore, and that's a shame, because that's when you can start. In my views, that's when you can start experiencing a real love, like an intimate relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even so, I think so. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If I met a man now and he had a history of basically being a serial dater, I would probably say, well, that's great, but that's probably not for me. Because what that would imply for me is that he's a person that's after a hit. He just wants to hit and he can't do the follow through, which is actually have the relationship. And like I said, I don't want to, people can do it any way they want to do it. If they actually just want to go from one relationship to another, and that's fine, that's up to them. I personally don't want to do that. So that wouldn't work for me. And my feeling is that people that do that probably end up at a certain age whereby they don't have that, attractiveness anymore viewed, and they end up probably feeling quite lonely. And then they come to me and say, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, you're too in love with love. You're like kind of Cupid, or, you're too in love with love. You just want the love. You just want the first bit. You're too in love with the limerence. You're not,
At some point, I was wondering if I wasn't becoming a serial dater, because I've been on many dates, and in fact, I don't think I was. It looked like it, but I don't think I was. I was looking for a really, really nice relationship, and it's difficult to find someone. I've met some really amazing women, along the years, and I wasn't any better than them. That's not what I mean. But I wanted a certain level of intimacy, fun. I wanted to be challenged as well intellectually, and maybe I was too demanding, but I don't think so. I think it's okay to be demanding, as long as it's realistic. It's like I didn't want to settle for less. When I say less, again, it's not like I was any better than any. I've met women who were, let's say, I don't know if I can say that, much better than me in many ways.
Yeah.
But somehow I didn't feel like it was a match, and so I thought a bit more about it. In fact, I was thinking about you, and because I feel like I'm somehow a free spirit. Well, I feel like I'm a free spirit, and I feel like you are as well. And I'm wondering if it maybe makes it, and having done a lot of therapy and being a therapist, and same for you, maybe it makes it more difficult to not to see certain things, or to pretend that we haven't seen them, not becoming someone's therapist. If at some point we're always, because we like caring, because that's our job.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe some therapists don't care much, but I know you do. You care a lot about your parents, about your friends, about so. Yeah. It's tempting when you meet someone to go into that direction, to become their therapist.
Yeah, you really have. I'm constantly analysing it, but I think it's. I'm really interested because you're onto something there, but I'm not sure quite what it is. What I know about myself, and this sounds arrogant, and I don't care. I'm a kind of high quality woman.
No, I know. Yeah.
And I have a lot of energy when I have it, and I am pretty dynamic, and I move pretty quickly, and I do a lot. Mm-hmm. And actually, that is quite difficult for people generally to keep up with, because I move very fast. And the other thing is, I was thinking about this, and someone was saying on a workshop I did, which was fascinating, about getting a partner, making your life available for a partner. It was all about what do you do with your space? A bit like a Marie Kondo thing. Have you got room for a partner?
Yeah.
And I was looking around my bedroom, and I was like, well, all my the cupboards are sort of my things. The bookshelf are sort of my books. I've got a great big bed because I used to have a partner, so I've got a great big bed, and so potentially I could kick the dogs off and have a
So
I thought, okay. And then she was saying, well, then you need to make space for your partner. And I realized something fascinating about me. I just thought, and then I thought, okay, I don't really want to do that. But that's also, I think, about something else, which is I've had a lot of men move into my space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, for me, it was about, well, I don't really want to do that anymore. I don't want to be the big breast that provides for everybody, and everyone just moves to my space and puts their clothes in my wardrobe and sleeps in my bed and puts their books on my shelf. So I don't know if she was talking about energy, because I thought, actually, I don't want someone yet again moving into my space.
But you did want that, otherwise it didn't happen I mean, that's what I think you just said. It did happen a few times. So you did want that. At some point, it was part of the...
I think it's a power dynamic. I was the person with the kids and the money. So people moved into my house, and that doesn't work for me, because it's always my house, my space, my kids. Anyway, so I was thinking about what we need to do for ourselves if we want to have a serious proper long-term partner, to be available to have that relationship, and maybe check in with ourselves, think, well, am I? How much of me is available? What am I prepared to give up? What am I prepared to do? And if the answer is actually not very much, apart from go for a cup of coffee once a week, maybe you're saying something different. But we don't do this process because loneliness is painful. It's painful. I felt it recently. I'm coming at night, my kids are all out, I'm sitting there by myself, and I'm thinking, right, here I am, and suddenly this wave of existential fear hits me. It's going to be like this forever. I'm just going to be a throuple with myself forever. I will never have someone to share my feelings with, and my thoughts with, and my space with, and my time with, and all this work I'm doing for myself, and all the stuff I'm experiencing. I will never have them share it with, and that feels painful.
Of course, yeah. Of course, it feels painful. Yeah. So it's either one or the other. It's like the way you say it's like either you're sharing your bookshelf and your bed and your house, or you're all by yourself. It's like you haven't found a compromise or the way to.
Yes.
Or it's a coffee, one coffee every week, you said, which is not very exciting.
But the compromise, it doesn't work. So this is interesting with love. It's Valentine's Day, and I would say, because I'm a big romantic and I'm a love coach, compromise isn't love. If you want love, you're fully in, and that's what you're saying. I want to meet someone. I want to be fully in. I want to have that woman in, or that, or whoever you are, it doesn't matter, in my life in an essential way where we share stuff and we do this, and that you haven't, you've done a lot of dating, and you're available. You're an available man. You've got a bit of time. You could probably make some time. Why isn't it happening? And then you worry, oh my God, am I a dater? Maybe I'm just a dater and I can't stop dating. So what do you think that is? For people who are listening to the podcast, who experience similar things, and people say to me all the time, why can't I meet someone? And I say, there's 1 billion people on the planet, or however many there are. Out of that, on this call about how do you meet a mate, there were 6,000 people on this podcast. 6,000. Wow. That's a lot of single people, and everyone was looking for love. I mean, surely in that call,
are we looking for love, or are we looking for a relationship? And sometimes the two go together. And some people are not really looking for love. Or it's okay. There is like some kind of love feeling somewhere. But are we looking for love, or are we looking for a relationship? I would say I'm more looking for love in a relationship. So I want everything, Lucy. I want it all. I want to have fun. I want to, not always. I know that's, it's not like having fun all the time. It's not like I live in Disneyland, or I want intimacy, both physically and emotionally. I want to be able to be challenged by someone who's smart, who can ask me questions that will make me think about myself or about the world or stuff like that. And which is what I have with friends. I mean, I'm not in a relationship with my friends, but with some friends, I get this kind of, and I have fun with my friends. I'm not all the time. Again, sometimes we speak about difficult stuff, or I'm going, or they're going through difficult times. But we have this intimacy, we have that fun, and the thing is that there is no commitment. When I say, I had a coffee with a friend yesterday, and then I said, have a good day. And then it's not like I didn't say, okay, when are we seeing each other again? Or I didn't feel like calling him this morning to wish him a happy Valentine, because he's a friend. And so I think it's more challenging. It's like we want the intimacy and the closeness that we have in a friendship, but we also want the physical attraction. It's a lot. I mean, but maybe we should settle for, we, people in general, should settle for less.
Well, first of all,
I'm challenging you.
Well, first of all, I think people need to be very clear with themselves about what they actually want. And that might be journaling, that may be thinking, that may be writing it down, that may be doing a list, that may be listening to podcasts like this. And what do you really, really want? Mm-hmm. And then write it down so that you know, in what do you really, really want? And then you have to think, there was no thinking, I'll never get it. There's no men out there. There's hundreds of billions of men out there. There's billions of women out there. There's billions of people.
Lovely people and really amazing people.
Loads and loads of really lovely people out there. And okay, that person may not be for me, but he'll certainly be for somebody else.
Yeah.
So, get rid of the negative idea there's no one out there. There's loads of people out there. Out there is a perfect person just waiting for you and her, or me and him, or the same-sex couple, or whatever, or a polyamorous couple. They're all out there to find each other. But it's getting very clear about what it is that you want and what is it that you're bringing. I want this and I want that. And, it's like a child. I want something to make me feel this way. Forget that. Now make feel anyway. You make you feel. So What are you bringing? What are you bringing to the table? And which areas of yourself? Like, I'm a bit of a, I can be a bit flighty, and I get, I'm a bit flighty. I can get very overexcited and go, oh my God, this is amazing, this is great. And I'm actually, so I'm like, oh God, actually, I don't really know. Now I think I might go over that way. I'm not really flighty in my relationships. If I'm with someone, I'm really with them. I'm faithful. I'm not flirty. I'm very loyal. But when I'm not in a relationship, I can kind of butterfly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that might imply I'm not really, I think I know what I want, but it's also about, what are you able to bring? What can you give up? My house is full of pictures of my children. I've realized that. Children, paintings of children, photographs of my children, drawings by my children. That's fine, and that may be how it's going to be till they leave, beginning to leave. But maybe I would then change my pictures and put pictures of loving couples, really make my space a lot more around me being older, with a nest that's beginning to empty. So I'm more available to have a relationship that isn't just about, my relationships the last 25 years has mainly been actually with my children.
Mm-hmm.
And
your dogs.
Energy. And my dogs, well, I'm not changing that, Philippe.
No, of course not. No, of course.
I went on a date-ish, and we walked my dog, and he kept sort of saying disparaging things about them. I was like, right, we're done, And that, because also, you don't have to like my dog, but to be so unintelligent as to be rude about them.
No, of course.
Like, I don't want to go out with someone.
You said you were on a date-ish. What's the difference between a date and a date-ish? Maybe it's because French is my first language, but I'm not sure I understand the difference between a date and a date.
It's when it's a friend of a friend who you sort of, in a friend and sort of contacts you and says, oh, you're a friend of X's, and I'm interested in X. Would you like to go for a walk so we can talk about it? Yeah. Now, is that a date or isn't that a date? It's a sort of a date.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm teasing you. I'm more like...
But it may not be a date. And maybe I should be more clear with people. Maybe I should say to them, is this a date or is this a walk? We've ended up being actually very good friends.
I don't think we should be clear. Except if you meet someone on a dating app, that's different. But But otherwise, I don't think you have to be clear. I mean, you're just meeting someone, and you see where it goes.
Yeah.
I think. And
well, there wasn't anyway. I better not talk about it. But he told me a lot of intimate stuff on this walk, which made me want to go and run away and hide under a grassy knoll. I was like, well, I'm not quite sure I'm sexually the right person for you, because maybe I'm a little bit more vanilla than that. So, and I was quite interested why someone would tell me their sexual fantasies when I literally just met them. So I thought, actually, this man is up for having some pretty out there sex with somebody, and it's probably not me. So but we're friends. And I said to him, where we became friends, I said, you need to go on a very particular sort of dating website, sweetie. That's what you want. It's out there, but you can't go on, Match.com. It's not, unless, so you probably need to go on something that's more around the BDSM area, of which there are loads of, if that's what you want to do, fine. So you can set out to do what you want, but you probably need to go and find a website that's more around that kind of area. But that's a funny thing, isn't it? So there's some things about the chemistry, isn't it? I mean, when you
chemistry, and also, and yeah, of course, the chemistry is essential, and also I think, are we somehow at the same place? If someone just got divorced, for example, it's not the same place than someone who's been divorced for 10 years, and someone who has kids is not the same place as someone who does. I'm not sure. It doesn't mean we have to be exactly at the same place, but of course, it makes the dynamic is different. If someone is much younger, or if someone is still somehow sad about the end of their previous relationship, or if someone is struggling financially, and all these things will be part of the relationship. I mean, it doesn't mean it cannot happen, but it's part of the relationship. It will be there. It won't be said at the first date or the second date, maybe, but it will be there. So the chemistry and where we're at, really. Yeah.
But there's two things I want to ask you. Number one is, should we trust the chemistry? Just hold that thought. Because let's say you're someone who has had an addicted parent, and that your pattern is that you're attracted to addicts and they're attracted to you, and it's very instantaneous. If there's a whole experiment, you could there was a woman put in a room of 100 men. She'd come from an abusive background. Her father had hit her, physically abusive. She'd had relationships with abusive men. They put her in a room with men, and she was just looking at them, and she had to pick out who she was attracted to. 5 men, and of the 5 men she picked out, all of them had been abusers in their relationship. So, and that is on pure chemistry, that is on pure attraction. So what I'm asking is, can you trust your chemistry? If your chemistry led you into places that are not healthy, can you check with your chemistry and go, stop, and try and re-chemicalize?
I think you can question. I think you should definitely listen to your chemistry, because it says something which can be really interesting, and so you should be more. I think it's about being intuitive and thinking, okay, I'm attracted. I can feel I have this feeling there is a chemistry between the two of us. You can question it and be intuitive and think, why? In fact, why am I attracted? Sometimes it's just a smile, it's someone. The way someone will smile will remind you of something which you've known 30 or 40 years before. It's
yes. So it may not be a healthy thing. That's what I'm saying.
It may not be.
Women say to me, I'm very attracted to dangerous men and rogues and men who pay the field, and I'm not attracted to Mr. Nice over there, who's hold down a job, who's responsible dad, who cleans his car on a Sunday.
In their mind, it's going to be boring.
In their mind, it's boring. So how do you shift that? How do you shift it? So they always end up in disastrous relationships with men who cheat on them and blah, 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 blah. And they come back to me going, oh my God, I thought he was the one. And I'm like, why did you think he was the one? Did he have any qualities on display that made you think he was the one? Was he steady? Was he honest? Did he show up? Was he fully in?
Was he fun?
yeah, was he fun? I mean, yeah, but they're like, we have great sex. He was really great fun. He made me feel like a princess, and then he disappeared. And now I'm lost and lonely and stuck again. And that's because their chemistry is very attractive to men that do that to them. Trying to shift their chemistry to a man that shows up and goes, hello, you know, my name is Ed, and I'm kind of steady, and I'm good, and I'm funny, and I'm kind of fun, but I'm not as fun as, you know, Crispin over there, but I'm kind of trying. They're not interested in that person. So it's a loop that goes round and round. But if we base it on chemistry, sometimes our chemistry is giving us fake and false information.
Yeah, no, you're right. But it's giving us an information. So it's again, it depends. I think we should hear what or be in touch with what that chemistry is telling us. You know, sometimes I will meet someone at a dinner, or, you know, someone I haven't met before, and I feel attracted to that person, and then I think, why was I attracted? I question it, but not in, you know, I question whether there was. So even, you know what, even sometimes a perfume can create that for me. So if it's the right perfume, it can create this kind of. Sorry?
But you're French. Actually, so you're not French, you're Belgian.
Yeah, and I think chemistry is important, but I don't think it's giving us. It's just maybe a few percent of how good a relationship can be for us. I really think so. And I think we can change with therapy and with experience, and with therapy, we can change that chemistry that we're looking for. Partially, not totally. I don't think we change it completely. I mean, if we're attracted by a certain kind of person, a certain kind of trauma, let's say, I think it will always be there somehow. But the idea is
well, I think it will always be there, but it's like people come to me, and I think I'm talking women more than men, and they're in, you know, they're like little kids. They help me, mummy, help me not find naughty, whatever it is, naughty-ness attractive. Help me find steady attractive. And I'm like, you know, okay, but what help do you need me to do for you? Because I can tell you to date Steady Eddie, you know, a million times in a row, but I can guarantee you're going to end up with Naughty Nick, because that's what's making your heart race. But that's that first bit of romantic love. That first bit, and then it doesn't. There's no follow through in that. The relationship doesn't go to a deeper level. This is why it's such a complicated, deep, huge subject.
It's also a fascinating one. Lucy, it's a fascinating one.
I could offer to the client that I could say, okay, well, maybe here's your choices. Number one, you could say, what I actually want is the heart race, heartbeat. So I'm just going to go to the naughty boys and have a bit of fun, have great sex, and then go through the pain, and I'll start again. You know, you could keep doing that forever, really. So that's the choice. I think it's about putting a spotlight, isn't it, on choices. If you want to make different choices, if you want to find the steady eddies of the world attractive, you need to do some serious work on what's pulling you towards the naughty boys of the way. You know, maybe your dad was a naughty boy. You know, maybe your first boyfriend was a naughty boy. Maybe you've had a whole lot of messaging that a vav-vav and weighty kind of a guy, and you've seen lots and lots of films, and you read lots and lots of stories.
Also, one of the advantage when you're dating a naughty boy or a naughty girl is that somehow you know already, more or less unconsciously, that the relationship is not going to last for very long. So sometimes it's
you know, women think I can change him. It'll be me. It's like if I were Judy Cooper novel so well, you know. There's a naughty boy and there's always that woman, and eventually he realizes actually steady Henrietta, who's there with the children making his dinner, he loves her. Steady Henrietta.
Unconsciously, I think unconsciously meeting someone who's a good person and someone who's willing to be in a nice, balanced, warm, sexy relationship is scary, because it's like, okay, but then that's going to be the one, the man or the woman. And I think even though that's what many people are looking for. Somehow it's scary.
Yeah.
Because they haven't experienced it before, and because maybe they don't allow it for themselves. Maybe it's a fascinating subject. I'm sure we'll have many more conversations about that.
Oh yeah, we can talk about it forever because
Lucy, we don't want to sound negative because it's Valentine's Day and here we are talking about it.
I'm being really positive.
Yes,
I mean, I think
so am I. Yeah.
Wonderful, amazing thing, but I think part of it is, you can do, and I found this really helpful. So I went and did a Wim Hof weekend. People know what that is. And I sat in an ice bath for 2 minutes, and everyone's like, "How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it?" And I actually made myself visualize myself getting in the ice and sitting in the ice and being okay with it. And I'm someone that's used to visualization. Every time I go for one of those weekends and people say, "Oh, now we're going to do visualization," I kind of fall asleep, or I just think, "Oh God, visualization." But actually, this thing about I want to meet somebody, I want to be in love, I want to have this relationship, is visualizing it. And what would it feel like? What would it be like? Really, really think about it. And how are you reacting to it? So it's not just this sort of namby-pamby, wimbly, waffly, woo-woo idea. It's a felt experience. What do I feel like? What does this feel like? Do I want this feeling? How do I feel about me? I'm in a relationship with myself. How's that relationship going? It's that area of stuff. It's active. It's active transformation. And that, for some people, sounds wonderful, but also scary. But it's about active transformation. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel. And that active transformation can be totally wonderfully life-changing. Can really be life-changing. Yeah. But do you want your life changed? That's what love does. Love is amazing. Love is a drug. Love is fantastic. Love is the most wonderful thing I've sort of ever felt. It just is.
No, I agree. So do we agree with the idea that we don't really have to love ourselves? I think we agree on that. But at least respect who we are and have some consideration for who we are, and feeling good about who we are is a good place to eventually meet someone and be in a nice relationship. But it doesn't mean we have to love ourselves.
You know what? I mean, I really, really do love myself. I like myself tremendously. And
I like you tremendously as well. So
any man that ends up in a relationship with me, as far as I'm concerned, has hit the jackpot. But obviously, not all men think that about me. That's because they're wrong. But what I find difficult is when I meet men who I like, and they put themselves down all the time. Mm-hmm. And they say things like, "Well, I'm a bit boring, or I'm a bit average, and I want to offer this to women and men out there." That is not attractive.
No,
that is not attractive.
Same for me. When I would meet someone that I would find beautiful and attractive, and that woman would say, "Yeah, but look at me. I'm fat, or I'm this, or I'm that. Look at my wrinkles." But then, whatever I say, it won't change anything. Even if I say, "Come on, you look amazing. I love, I like the way you like your style. I like your body." I mean, whatever I say it's never going to be enough, and it's tiring. Because it's going to be there. It's it's going to be between us in the relationship.
So we need to sort of try and emanate, to have this romantic love, this romantic state, emanate the fact that you really like yourself. You're a high quality person. You're kind, you're good, you're funny, you're decent, you're loyal. Think about yourself as a friend. What do you bring to your friendship? Yeah. What is good? Why do your friends love you? That is what you're bringing to a relationship. Because if we go in saying, "Well, I'm this and I'm boring and and I'm hurt," it's the energy's wrong. It's a down energy.
No, I know. And it's boring. It's boring as well. It's boring.
Boring. I don't want to hear people telling me that they don't like themselves. I mean, as a partner, I don't.
I know. Because then you become their therapist. I mean, their therapist, or you could be tempted to go along that way, and same for me. So, and we that's not what we want, and that's not. You can, when you're in a relationship, it's not only about us being therapists, but you cannot be someone's therapist if you're in a relationship.
Yeah, so people need to think about how do we attract people? We have to find ourselves attractive, maybe. We have to like ourselves. We have to respect ourselves. Yeah. Think about the animal world. All sorts of animals put on little shows and displays and colours, and peacock males do all their feathers. Hi, I'm really great. Look at all my feathers. Think about yourself like that. You're an attractive human being who's going to attract another attractive human being, and put yourself in a great frame of mind, in a wonderful light, and play up your wonderful, beautiful qualities. If you look great in red, put on a red dress. Really, don't just go out like a dowdy little lady blackbird, all brown and unloved. That's not work. So it's not about I love myself. It's like, actually, I rate myself. I'm gonna really work on myself, and I'm gonna bring the qualities I have with my friends to my love relationship. I'm gonna put on a proper colour. I'm gonna go out there, and I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna meet someone, and it's gonna be wonderful.
I love that.
And it will be.
No, I know. I totally agree. That's my.
But the other thing I want to ask you, because you're a man, right? Obviously, you're a man. I'm a woman, right? So let's say you go on a date, you meet someone, and it's good. Why does it start going wrong after a few dates?
Well, there's so many different reasons.
Okay.
Let's say someone is not. Let's say if someone is bringing up all the difficult times she's had with her previous relationship, for example, and she speaks about it a lot, or she speaks endlessly about her children. I really like the idea. So I see you smiling, and people who listen to us to know you've been smiling. I love. I'm a father. I like talking about my kids, but I've really seen that with some of my friends or someone I would go on a date with, it's like they would somehow put their children in the relationship from the very beginning. And that's not fair, because I'm not dating the mother, I'm dating the woman. And then I know this woman is a mother, and I'm happy. I really like that, by the way. I think having kids, being a father or mother, somehow brings out even more things about someone. So I really like that idea. But so some women and maybe some men, I don't know about that, define themselves more or see themselves more as a mother than a woman. And at first, I want to have a date. I want to be on a date or with a woman, not being in denial that that woman has children, of course. But so this is or you would find out that someone tends to drink daily or too much or stuff like that, which I find really difficult. In fact, I would then feel like helping that person, and then again, that's not my job. I'm not there to. When you're in a relationship with someone, you can help that person. You can, of course, but it shouldn't be if it's there from the very beginning and you feel like you're on a mission to save someone. That just doesn't work. You cannot save anyone. Who's not asking you to anyway. So there are many reasons why. Sometimes I find that many women, and I'm sure it's true the other way around, don't really like men. They like the company of a man eventually, but it's like they don't really love men, and they're because maybe they're scared of men, or they
or they've had very bad experiences.
And I've heard from my female friends and or clients that many men don't really like women. Like they're attracted physically and they want to be.
But that's a different subject altogether. But that's a huge subject.
No, it's a huge subject. So if I meet someone and it's like and that person, I know that she doesn't like men really or love what It's hard work. I don't want to work hard. I work hard all week long. I don't want to work hard on my spare time.
Yeah.
But I'm joking, but it's then
But for me, it's like the noble male energy meets with the divine female.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
That's for me. It's like for me, it's like a noble male energy meets. Brings out for me a divine female energy. And those states are powerful and warm and curious and playful. And I think that's got very lost. But this is a different podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll definitely. Well, we know we're going to do more. So anyway, I really loved chatting and talking with you today. And let's talk again very soon. I would really like that.
Yeah, let's do that. And have a lovely Valentine's Day.
Thank you, and yeah, and same for you. Enjoy your Valentine's Day and with your dogs then.
Yeah, and my kids.
And your
Same old.
Bye bye.